Do you have a horrible sleep schedule? Oh, I gotta shave. Do you have a horrible sleep schedule? Are you neurodivergent? And probably gay. Is your fear of failure causing you to go beat off every time you can't figure out that one f***ing note to that song you've been working on for what feels like ages? Congratulations! That means you're a musician, which means you're also more likely to suffer from hearing loss, carpal tunnel syndrome, depression, anxiety, substance abuse issues, sleep disorders, high stress, nutrition issues, and eating disorders. But Jay, are you saying that being a musician exposes me to a more difficult life and all sorts of issues that little teenage me didn't think of when I decided to pick up a guitar and start botching Smoke on the Water? That's exactly what I'm saying, straw man.
Hey, but I'm a musician and I have a very happy life.
So what sucks so much about being a musician? I mean, you get the hot babes, attention and validation, the easiest conversation starter in the world, and all sorts of stuff, right? Wrong. Ask any musician how their love life is going.
Train wreck, probably.
Attention and validation?
Yeah, by who? My mom?
Your friends will tell you how good your music is, and it's all nice and dandy until you're alone in your bed, and the imposter syndrome says, "Why aren't you famous yet?" And conversation starter, don't even get me started. You know how awful it is to see people from my hometown and they go, "How's the little music thing going?" And I have to use every fiber in my being not to tell them I'm a fucking crack addict, to checking my Spotify for artist stats hourly just to watch my monthly listeners go from 1201 to 1205. How awful is it? It sucks, okay? Well, all right, Negative Nancy. Where's this all coming from anyways? We're all in love with it.
Hello, my name is Beat, and I'm gonna play the
Everyone in the world at the same time. Oh, embarrassing. One of the main reasons that I stopped going to church as a teenager was seeing the bastardization of something that I thought was perfect. I saw a book that speaks of love get twisted into being a weapon of hatred. I think that musicians today face a similar problem. We all started doing this for a reason. Half of us started off with inadequate equipment, recording in our mom's closet, and mixing songs through a gaming headset or those shitty little earpods that Apple gave you whenever you would get iPhones. I mean, what the f*** were those? Anyways, it was all for the love of the game, right? But today, we experience a bastardization of the thing we hold dearest to us, a warp in the motive that got us into music. And I know what you're thinking. Oh man, is he about to be another one of those guys who blames TikTok for all of his problems? You're goddamn right I am. I mean, this app has made it to where we can't watch people make abominations with spaghetti without there being pro-level Subway Surfers gameplay overloading the ever-living shit out of our dopamine receptors. In a music world that was already placing a heavy focus on numbers, how many streams you get, how much money you make, how many times you cried yourself to sleep because you still couldn't figure out that one note, we've now been forced to compete with the entertainment version of a crack sandwich. Oh, boo-hoo! Creative people have to create in order to have a career? Let me play you a sad song on the world's smallest violin. Well, it's harder than you think, okay? We don't expect Michael Phelps to beat LeBron James in an arm wrestling competition. It's apples to oranges, people. Apples to f***ing oranges. Over the past 5 years of my music career, I've tailored my brain to be able to make funky noises and to make it sound pretty to people's little monkey brains. Now I have to make content and be funny and quirky, and it's not enough to make stuff sound good? I mean, sure, I can learn marketing and content creation, but there's a skill imbalance. Until musicians are able to adapt to the marketing world that they're trying to insert their music into, they have to deal with being criminally underrated, hearing from the 2 people that comment on their TikTok that they don't know how this hasn't blown up yet. So what do we do as musicians then to find a balance where we're happy with our progression, but we're not getting burnt out by numbers and fatigue? Well, I'll share a little bit of what's worked for me. Far and away, the number one thing that has helped me from getting too down on myself is learning to stop comparing myself to other people. And I know it's cliche at this point, but it really is true. It's hard for us as musicians to do that because some person always has to say, "Oh, you're the Walmart brand Post Malone," every time you post a song, right? But seriously, you can't ever be satisfied with the progress you've made and continue to make if you focus on the progress of others. If you take time to look back and see how far you've come, you, and only you, can appreciate the journey ahead much more than if you allow yourself to envy the journey that someone else has already taken. This kind of goes with the first point in that you have to trust the process. Everyone started somewhere, right? I had some mild success earlier this year with a song that reached nearly 25,000 streams, my most popular song to date, only to fall right back down. I was super demotivated in creating content and marketing my subsequent releases because I was so obsessed with watching my monthly listeners slowly drop back down to earth. If you know that you're working to hone your craft, who could give a damn about your numbers right now? Don't ever stop learning new stuff, and don't ever get too comfortable. If you haven't made it to the upper echelons yet, you can't really afford to be a one-trick pony. Try out a new musical style from time to time, practice learning how to shoot video of yourself, mixing your demos so you don't sound like an amateur when you go to the studio with them, etc., etc. Learn what you need to be able to do and what you're able to outsource. You need to learn how to delegate. If you think it's impossible to do it all yourself, to mix, produce, record, market yourself, it's because it damn near is. You need to use the money and the connections that you have available to try to take as much of a load off of yourself as you can. For example, my past 2 single covers have been shot by my roommate, who also happens to be a hobbyist photographer. He's shooting this video, he's literally right behind this camera, shooting this video for me right now, and it's insanely helpful. I record all of my vocals, guitar, bass, etc. at home. I produce all of my own instrumentals, but I'm also able to take a step back and say I'm not that good at mixing, so I get those professionally mixed by my very wonderful engineer. I also lean on my friends, especially other artists, for visual and promotional content ideas. Lastly, remember that there are people who care about you and want to help, but you have to ask. I'm sure there's things that I'm missing, but that's really the gist of it. If there's anything I can answer for you or anything else you want me to talk about, leave it down in the comments below. Being an artist is a sucky situation, but we thrive in those. Consider it an offering to your muse. So yeah.
Look at me, I'm Rick and Morty. Freaking time, man. We're all gonna die. We're gonna turn to dust. We're just monkeys on a cold rock. Okay. Caleb's like horrified. I've broken. Monkeys. Hey. Fuck my pussy!